So recording number 2 of coaching session number 3 with Sam and Kat. So what I'd love, that was a great story, and you know, I thank you for sharing all of that. I love when we think also about back to our family situation and what we might have been able to, how our strengths may have played out even in our early life. You talked about being able to, did you say get your dad's attention?
Yes.
Yes, well, if I think about that influencer role and being able to, yeah, there was clearly a spark there, and yeah, regardless of what it was you were trying to do as a child, being able to, yeah, get him to, yeah, move him to whatever, you know, I don't know what it was, giving you candy or... Can you remember any of those things? What did that attention, how were you able to use that attention in a positive way?
How I used that
attention. That attention. Yeah. What were some of your memories about how you used has a negative connotation, but how were you able to leverage that attention?
When we were young, as in obviously you get to have, because we always studied in a co-ed school, and again in India is not very westernized. Now it's like quite changed, but when at that point of time it wasn't that westernized. So being in a co-ed school, we were restricted with making boys as our friends. But somehow when I used to make friends as boys, my mom was always chill out, and my dad never said that. I used to welcome that, and both my sisters used to hate me for that. That when we get our friends, dad gets annoyed and is like, why are you getting friends along with yourself? But when you get it, so such examples, and when I used to ask anything, he never said no, but for my sisters, a lot of times they said, no, we should not be doing that, let's not do that, it's not good. So he always had reasons for them. He never had reason for me for anything.
So you got him, regardless of what you knew you were doing, you got him to say yes quite a lot. You moved him to an action. Very fantastic. If I think about your great strengths, Sam, that's a gorgeous example. So look, the example is a really fantastic example of, I think, you really investing in the relationship with this this colleague, and you talked a lot about, you learnt perspective from her, so you learned a lot of things from her. And you were also, as part of that relationship, able to move her to do things that people were amazed that you were able to do. So really fantastic example of both, I think, those great strengths. I guess as we then think about the other individual that you described, who you said is isolating himself, or what might be some of the lessons or the things that you learnt from that example with the lady with the divorce that you might be able to think about applying in that situation?
I tried that, and because gender humans are like that. We are like that, when and especially I'm like that. When there's an issue happening, I want to talk about it. Like a lot of people, even with the husband-wife, a lot of time, if they have a fight, they want to isolate themselves. But I'm not like that. And I tell my husband, if you isolate me, I'll be more angry. You have to talk to me on that. Then what's the issue? And that's what I tried doing with this guy. That I wanted to talk about it. But as I said, he had such a big wall, such a thick wall around himself. Just even getting onto in his boundary was very hard. First of all, as per me, first of all, I was a woman. That's the reason he never realized. He's 50 years old, so so to him, first of all, is age. I'm obviously younger to him. Second, I was leading the project, although we had the same position, and I was leading the role. although it was offered to him, he rejected by himself. So there wasn't any that he wasn't asked for it. But he knows that he can't do it. He doesn't go in meetings. He doesn't go in workshop unless it's only the very, very technical. He's a very technical person. I even sparked him for that. That you know, the work he does, because he does awesome job, no doubt about it. And
what's awesome about his work?
The details he has in his work is really fantastic. So if he has to do something, he would visualize and create a diagram and then do his work. So obviously it's time consuming, but he does it, and so that if someone else has to refer it, and a person like me who's semi-technical, it's very easy for me to refer to his work, and it's very descriptive about his the details he put in his workbook. So I even sparked him for that. However, he was happy, but again the next day he was annoyed on something. So yeah, see, I had to get the things delivered. I have to, and there is a schedule for everything. When you have to deliver something, there's always a schedule. There's always a start and an end date. So, but he could find issues with whatever I did. So so I don't know if anything can help that. I even tried checking after I moved team. I even tried checking with my ex-boss, so that, you know, if next time this sort of person happens, how to deal with it. So, but he said the same thing. He's like that. He doesn't like anyone. He just wants to be by himself. That's it.
And so, Sam, how important is it that you change the situation with this particular individual? How important is it?
To me, because it's a team, although it's a virtual team, it gets important. Anything relating to a team gets important. It is said, you know, a bad fish can spoil the whole water, that sort of a thing, you know. So to me, if I have to give information, so if it's just FII, then it's okay. But if something turns out to be FYA, then it creates a problem. And if one person starts, then obviously others start too with the cross questioning. So, and when I used to call a meeting to discuss before I send an email, he was never part of the meeting, you know. So yeah, so that is what always concerned me, and being a virtual team and that fast delivery of the project, I needed him to be part of the whole discussion always.
And going forward is I guess I'm trying to determine. So he's a difficult character. Is there is it still important that your relationship with him, or that's moving to a different place, or is there someone else in your sphere or your world right now where that's difficult, that it's as equally or even more important for you to have a more productive or effective relationship with?
After moving, my point of contact changed, so I don't have to deal with him directly now. Although he does reply to my emails, but my point of contact is Chris now. So it's straight to him. He has to convince, he has to talk to him, he has to do whatever. So the whole idea for the management was to get me to this team so that my point of contact changes. But the other day I asked my manager why no one sits with him and talk to him rather than moving other people around just for the sake of one person, just because he's technically sound. Although I didn't get a right or a proper reply, but yeah, to me it's now I'm very inquisitive to know that what's happening, that other people can move, or Chris is happy to be the point of contact. Even Telstra complained for him against him. So so for Telstra also, he told that I'll be the point of contact. Chris is going to be point of contact. Being a manager, he's doing the technical part, which I was doing, being the point of contact. However, nothing changed for him. So I'm still curious to know why, but obviously you don't have answers to all the questions.
Yeah, I guess in terms of if we go back to what we, what you outlined as what would be helpful for today, I think it'd be really helpful if we could think about really zero in on. So is it this individual that it is most important for you to be able to break through and have that more productive relationship with still? And if that is the case, then let's think about some possible strategies or options or things that we just talked about. Or is there someone else or something else that's more important in terms of a difficult person that you might need to work through?
I think for now, because he's not my point of contact, it doesn't matter to me anymore. However, I still want to get an advice of to handle such people, so that if someone can handle him, or they can handle a lot of the percentage. I've started feeling that. So I would still like to understand how to handle such people, because obviously I'll be working for a while. So again, I might get similar kind of person, who is very hard to even he or she is isolated, and they don't want you to be part of their lives at all, be it professional, personal.
So this, or if we think about that particular individual, because I think when we in our conversation today, it would be fantastic for us to walk out of here with some things that you're energised about or that resonate for you in terms of a couple of key things you might want to try with this particular individual to see if that will work. So is that something that you are interested in or energised about in terms of some things to actually go back and talk to this individual?
Oh, that's going to be hard.
Right, yeah.
That's going to be hard. Because anything might help me for my future thing, but to touch this person again, it's like, you're ready to touch a snake to give you a bite. Trust me, which I don't want. So, and everyone avoids that, because that's how I complained last time. So no one wants to, get that back again from David, saying that what's happening again. Sam had a fight with someone now.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe if we talk then. So I think what is it? If you think about what you learnt from the other woman that you, or those reflections about the other lady that you were able to successfully, turn around. So we talked about, or what were the couple of things there that you think made the biggest difference with her? Just to summarise.
That people are not bad. It's our perception that they are, but they are not. And there is something which is hidden with them. Although it's not very easy, or it's not to go or handy to actually get onto that. However, everyone has its weak and a strong point. So if you only pick up the strong one and least touch the weak one, I think things can happen beautifully. This is what I tried, and obviously it worked for me.
And so you mentioned there that picking up on what's working well or the individual strengths, and focusing on the positives. So and that people don't come to work to do a bad job, but seeing the positives. If you think about that, and you had some, you had 30 minutes where this difficult character, let you into his world. How might you leverage that experience or that knowledge if you had 30 minutes where his mind was perhaps open to talk with you? What might be some of the strategies, or what might be some of the things you would do with him?
I don't know. I seriously don't know, because I tried when I went to Melbourne. I tried catching with him on coffee, just to understand a bit more about him. He declined, but when I went to his seat and spoke about the work, he did reply. So, and he replied pretty normal, as in he didn't show anything against me. He was talking about Telstra. He was talking against Telstra, and I wasn't there to actually explain what Telstra is or anything. But I was just trying to listen to him, so that maybe one day it's going to be out and then he'll start fresh. But it doesn't work with him. So none of my tactics actually worked on him.
Except I heard when you spent some time with the woman, well, I guess, where did you start that conversation? When you realised that things had to change, where did you start the conversation with her? What were the topics? Was it Telstra, the work, the project?
In my previous company,
no, it wasn't Telstra.
But we actually started, I started asking her previous experience, and that's how we started talking. And then obviously knowing her profile, I digged into that. How did you get this? This seems to be a very good futuristic profile, and it's a generic profile. You would never, either if it's not today, you would find another, because project management itself is a wide word. Or a wide profile. So that's how we started talking, and slowly talking about kids, are you married, not married, then getting into the personal life. So obviously first few meetings she didn't talk about the main concern or problem. But yeah, eventually she did, when I started talking about my life, my friends, my family. That's how, and nothing was quite straightforward, that I had to decide that I'm going to ask this question to her. It was it was a conversation which flowed on, that sort of a thing. Our interests were same. We both used to play badminton, so we started talking about that. And she wasn't too far also where I used to live, so we were talking about that, and where you're born, how's family, and all that stuff. That's all.
So you were able to find some points of connection. Well, you were able to, I think, let me play back to you, really show an interest in learning about her and understanding where she'd come from, and find some points of connection. If you think about that as a strategy that really worked for you, how might you apply that in the other situation?
I don't know, because as I said, he declined all my offers. He declined my coffee, he declined my phone calls, he declined my chats. So
I don't think he declined when you walked up to his desk.
Yeah, but then you can't keep on talking, standing on his desk, though, and I think he can't decline that, because I'm already standing on his head. He can't say anything, just go away. So I was just observing. So the starting point for your conversation with the woman and the starting point for your conversation with the current gentleman were slightly different. Not actually. We both the starting point was the project related talks.
Okay.
Both were reluctant and direct. But with this lady was that what I could guess, that she's not an isolated lady. She's still it's not that she's like she goes her way. At least she can listen to you, and then get herself on her own way. But with this guy, he doesn't want to listen. And when he said doesn't want to listen, he has problems with each and everything you say. So and I tried the same thing. So that's how we started chatting. One day he stopped that. Then I started calling. He stopped that. He never picked up my call. I don't think so. We ever spoke on phone. And then luckily I was going to Melbourne. I thought, okay, let me go and speak to him. Then I tried calling him. Jason, are you free? I'm here if you want to have a catch up. No, I'm busy. So he declined. So then I went to his desk and I started talking. Yeah, are you overloaded, or do you think I can move any of your tasks if you think? He's like, no, I'm happy to do what I have, but Telstra is that, and we should not listen to them. We are the customers. I'm like, okay, agree. If you want, I can still speak to them if you think. And a lot of time I have taken his pain points to HTA team or the other project managers. I think he's unhappy guy probably.
I think that's interesting. You said he's an unhappy guy probably. So I think I sense in you that so deep. There's a care and a kindness in you about everyone. People aren't bad. Everybody has a story. And I think you've demonstrated really successfully in the past. Taking that conversation to a deeper level.
I think that's my nature, because in my class also when I was young, I used to pick up the child who was least talkative, and the person, boy or girl, who used to sit on the corner always eating lunch alone. So I think I'm born like that, because I always pick up the person who is not with anyone. Be it a playground, be it in the class, be it if we are in a group and someone new comes in, that the person should not be isolated, that sort of thing. So to me also, when this time Chris came and I told him that I still want to know him, he's like, don't get into that, Sam. So I'm like, okay. A lot of people say that. Don't get into, like, why do you want to get yourself in trouble? But to me, if he's so alone, there has to have a real reason for it. No one wants to be, but maybe he's used to it now. But it's not. It must have not started this way. But I should mind my own business.
Well, that I guess if you continue to mind your own business, as your words, what's the upside of that for you, and what's the downside? Or how does that serve you, and how might that not serve you?
I know the downside for sure, that I won't be happy, because I become happy when I'm with someone who is not with anyone. That makes me happy. The plus point would be I'll have less troubles for sure, and I won't be moving teams like that and feel like devoted. That's what I think, but that's but again, as I said, that's original me, and losing myself over something which I'm not would be harder for me, rather than knowing a person and helping out that person.
So is I guess we're at a point where you're saying what would you be willing to move forward on with this particular individual? You've clearly been successful at the past at really tapping into someone who is is quite difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah. What would you be willing to take forward with this particular guy, even though people around you are saying, don't stick your nose in, don't get into trouble, Sam. What you're saying is it's actually not trouble. I can see someone who might need my help, or someone who is not bad and might be unhappy.
I don't know. Again, I don't know, because plus the flip side of this relation also is because we are too far, and I can't see him every day. So you know, when you see someone every day, it's a matter of chance that we are Melbourne, Sydney, so we don't see often each other. It's just mails. Otherwise, you know, rather than sending an email, I would have gone. That's what I did with that lady. I used to go to her for even small work rather than, you know, sending an email, just to say, you know, like another initiative in NBN is talk before you mail, something like that. Yeah. So I used to go to her and tell her that I'm just giving you a heads up that I'm trying to send that email because I'm stuck with that, and I you know, I'm not able to do that. And then you know, and she used to tell me that, oh, if you're stuck with that, I think you should go there. So although you have an idea, but you know, just to get the hang of, you know, what that person is, just to kick off a discussion, just to get involved in someone. So I think that would have helped a bit. I'm not again, as I said, I'm not sure with this person, but this was another reason. I could not convince him that what I am is I am. I'm not wrong or right. It's company's work, you know.
What we might do is I'm going to pause this and start again. So excuse me.